Yo, what is up, everyone? It is HGX Leatherface with the SlashTalk podcast. I'm here with my co-host.
713 Ghostface, and we also have as a co-host
Jason takes Texas.
And with that, I would like to bring on our guest, our amazing guest from the great town of Houston, Texas.
Dr. Death.
Hell yeah. So, Doc, how's it been, man? How's your latest patients been?
They've been a handful, to say the least. Nothing compared to when you three visited the asylum. You guys were some of the most easiest patients for me to operate on. Didn't fuss about anything. Didn't complain about the pain and the torture, which I absolutely love. Unfortunately, you can see this right here has got a little bit of blood on it from my last patient. I'll pick up on her once I get done with recording this amazing episode for this podcast. But yeah, it's been pretty good.
Glad to hear. Glad to hear. So, Doc, your character brings inspiration to so many across the country, especially here in Texas, since you're centralized in Houston, Texas. What was your inspiration to become Dr. Death _ HTX?
Well, I had to take some of my past traumas that I have yet to deal with, especially since at a young age I was terrified of the typical things. The dentist, hospitals, and particularly just did not suit well with me. I had a very traumatized experience with a doctor that really stuck with me even into my teenage years, and you mix that in with some of my favorite horror video games that I've got inspired by, the Pentagon Thief from Call of Duty Zombies, and I just wanted to mash that all together and make it into something that was truly terrifying that I could bring to life but put my own twist on it, and thus Dr. Death was born.
Yeah, and instead of stealing your gun, this doctor's going to steal your soul.
And your girl's heart. You never know.
Now, a question that I kind of want to follow up with that is, when you were making your character, you told us a little bit about how you got inspired to make it, but what is your inspiration for, like, the personality for the character? Like, who did you look up to, whether it's other people in the community or maybe a character you saw in movies or media, and you're like, I like the personality traits of this monster or this killer, and this is who I want to inspire my Dr. Death persona?
Well, I have to give a big thanks to obviously you three, including Bobo. I know that he's not here right now, but all three of you were a big inspiration for me. Just watching how you guys can put on these iconic slashers, but put your own twist on it and make it your own identity. That was truly inspirational to me. I also have to give a big thanks to some of my fellow horror community family like Pumpkin Queen, her husband Cody, Lola Pinup, who took a chance on me doing these photo shoots. All of them have really played a part in showing me the ropes of how to, handle myself personally, because I was always so negative and always worried about what other people thought. And when I started Dr. Death, I was like, well, what happens if this doesn't really resonate with people? What happens if people just are like, oh, it's just a doctor, nothing, too special about it. But I feel like the connection that I've made with my fans so far has truly been something that not only is inspiring others to do their own custom characters, but it's been inspiring for me to build this friendship with this family. Because I mean, I don't view you guys as friends; you guys are family to me. So to be able to take all of that and make Dr. Death into who he is now, I feel like that's my biggest inspiration. It's just everybody that's around me is very important to me.
I have a question for what exactly would you consider like one of your greatest moments, like as Dr. Death? Like a good moment for you.
There's quite a few, but I would definitely say my interaction with the fans that I get to meet at conventions, especially when some people will come up to me and say, "Hey, I've been following you on social media for quite some time now, and since I've been following you, you've really inspired me to start my own custom character." Then they lead into how they work for haunted houses now, and how they've been digging more into their horror side of things and everything. So it's like it's truly inspirational for me to see that I'm making a difference in other people's lives just by doing what I love to do, and just the same way that like you guys inspired me and other people did. It's nice to know that I can do that for them. So I would definitely say the interaction with the fans is definitely the best part.
Absolutely, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Great. And I just kind of want to go off of that too. It's not my question, but yeah, man, I feel like since I started this, the one because I was a kid like all of us, and I would always want to go to conventions. I would always want to walk up to people and take pictures and get autographs and all that. And now I just feel so honored that I'm giving that to the community, to other kids out there. And I like to think that I'm going about it like the best way possible, because there's some people out there, they'll have people come up to them and take pictures and just be like, hey, no, like, just leave me alone. Like, and nah, dude, it's all about spreading the love across the horror community and just passing on to the next generation, of course. So, again, man, yeah,
Yeah,
me and you see eye to eye on that, man.
yeah, of course, definitely. You always got to get back to those, especially the ones that believed in you when everybody else was doubting you. I mean, it can be inspirational for sure. So definitely the fan interaction's the best part.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, my question is a little spicy and controversial. So, out of us three slashers, who do you think would win, and who do you think you would win against?
If it's you three going up against each other, I have to go with Jason. Um, and if it was me going up against you three, if I had to pick one to go up against, I think I would have to go with Mr. Ghostface right there.
Weak.
It's fair. I'm the only
Gotta save the best for last, Leatherface. Gotta save the best for last.
Oh
only
yeah,
not super
yeah.
crazy strong one, unless you're talking about the Dewey scene, in which case I just magically got ripped, but we don't talk about that. Alright, so Dr. Death, here's my question for you. And I believe this was a question asked by Bobo in the live stream. For those of you watching this recording, we do have these sessions live, and then we like to record afterwards a nice little professional recap for some of the questions for a special guest. And Bobo was wondering if you were to have a Dr. Death movie, who would be producing it? What studio would you want to be producing it?
Ooh, I would have to probably say, I know Leatherface would love this one. I would definitely say A24 or probably Blumhouse doing it. And when it comes to the directors or producers, I would definitely probably say Adam Wingard and James Wan for sure, because James Wan and what he's able to do with the Conjuring and the Insidious franchise was just something truly remarkable. And those were the movies that really, again, they made me sleep with a light on and think twice about going out, like, oh, I wake up in the middle of the night, I gotta go to the bathroom, but it's dark out there. Do I really want to go out there? The lipstick demon or someone else could be out there waiting for me. So definitely, if I had my choice, it would definitely be James Wan.
Wonderful, I love that, I dig it. I respect that answer.
I'll say A24.
Kind of going off
They're
on
great.
that. What do you think the movie would be about? Would it be like a backstory movie first, or would it be like just kind of like the stereotypical slashers here doing his thing, and then the next movie be a backstory?
Um, that's a really good question, and I've wrestled with that in my mind. I definitely think that I would probably you want to come out with a bang, right? And people love their slashers, so I would probably want it to just be an all-out slasher movie from start to finish. And by the end of the movie, you're gonna want to come back like, I want more, but I want to know the story behind this Doctor Death. What made him this way? Why is he killing these people? Why is he taking it out on the world and these patients that he locks up in this asylum of his? So yeah, I would definitely probably say that for sure.
Everyone loves a good villain arc.
Oh yes.
Very true.
Um, and then I guess my next question would be, if you were to have as many artists as you can or bands, what would be your top ones to be in a movie made about you as the soundtrack?
Right now, I would probably have to go with obviously Ice Nine Kills, Hollywood Undead, probably Fit for a King. If I could get those three artists to collab on a song for the soundtrack of, Dr. Death and his origins and his story, I would definitely want those three bands to come together, put those creative minds together, and just make a banger of a soundtrack for Dr.
Oh,
Death.
that would be such a banger.
All right, so Dr. Death, if you could have any horror icon co-star with you in a slasher film, who would it be and why? And this one is going to be a collaborative kill effort.
I would definitely either have to go with Michael Myers or Art the Clown for sure. Art just because of his, his presence and not talking, but also I feel like Art would fit so well with Dr. Death and what we could use. And, obviously he has his bag of tools of death that he uses. And, I got a full asylum full of that stuff. So I definitely feel like Art would be up there. But also, you got to go with the OG, arguably the greatest slasher, in my opinion, Michael Myers. Just the shape himself, side by side with Dr. Death, causing mayhem all over the world. I feel like, and we would come up with some really great kills, something that people have never seen. So, Michael and Art for sure.
Oh yeah, I love Michael Myers. Can't even fault you, man. I love Michael Myers.
I was a Shape cosplayer first. That tells you all you need to know. Next question for you would be, what like gets you in the mindset of the doc? Like right before you go out to do like filming or not filming, but like photography, go to events. Like what really like gets you in there?
Outside of watching, some of my favorite horror movies the night before, I will definitely just kind of go off in my own little world. Typically, like in a corner, or if like I'm at a convention, I'll go to the bathroom, go to a stall, and just put my headphones in. I got three songs in particular that I listen to get me in that mindset of Dr. Death. And once I put this mask on, it's no longer Danny that's there. It is the persona of Dr. Death and what I represent and what I want the world to be in my eyes. So that's just a little thing of what I do. Just go in a corner, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then come on out, and my alter ego comes out to play.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm the same way with Slipknot, man. As soon as I put that mask on, Slipknot's on shuffle real quick. For my question for you, Dr. Death, where did you get your degree?
It's classified.
Yeah, you're a real doctor.
Yeah, I can't really
Yeah,
speak on that. I plead the fifth on that one, but what I will say is I'm very certified in a lot things when it comes to the operational room and running an asylum. Obviously, you need to have a good head on your shoulders to run a business like that. So I plead the fifth on that question, but yes, I am certified and I have the best rates in town.
Do you accept insurance at all, or is it all cash, or?
I prefer cash, but I can take a look at your insurance, and if it suffices, then I'll definitely put you through.
Oh, hell yeah.
But for you three, no payment needed. No
Oh,
payment needed for
sweet.
you three.
he'll take
Might
Bitcoin.
even have a job open for three of you.
I'm gonna start appearing in a nurse outfit.
Yeah.
There's always room for that. There is always room for that here.
So, Dr. Death, tell us a little bit about the mask, the design of your character, everything like that. It's very iconic. It's an original design, I assume, right? You told us a little bit about it in the live stream. Just give us a little bit more information about the whole costume, the whole fit, the whole attire.
Yeah, of course. So, like, the masks are all custom made by my good friend who has his own shop. This is what he does full time. He goes by the Crip Skin Project on Facebook and on Instagram. All of these masks are custom made of burlap. And this mask in particular was inspired by Mortal Kombat. I wanted to do a Dr. Death look, but I was really inspired by Melina and Baraka. And that's where the smile comes into place. Because, I wanted something that was really going to just elevate my first, because this was my second mask. My very first one, the OG that I love and it is near and dear to my heart. Um, it's great, but this is like my go-to when I want to make an impression at conventions or at photo shoots. This is my go-to. So I got to give a lot of props to him, and I got to give props to the Fright Bros on Instagram. and on Facebook. They are the ones that have made my attire, my bloody scrubs, my bone saw, and a few of my other props that you guys see me have at these conventions. They've truly took my vision, because I would just send them like a little drawing, and I'm not a drawer by any means, but I sketched something up, sent it to them, see if they could put their own twist on it, and when I got the finished product, I was mind blown. So yeah, everything you see on Dr. Death from head to toe is all custom made. I wanted to go that route, and a lot of people do tell me like, "Oh, I'm sure you spend a lot of money on this stuff," but yeah, I do, to be fair. But at the same time, you got to put in the money to really invest in your character, and I feel like I'm doing just that. I do have a few more looks that I haven't um uh what do you call it, worn to conventions just yet, but I do plan on doing those, and I might bring out a new attire for next week's event that I'll be seeing you gentlemen at. So we'll see what happens, but yes, all full custom design from the mask all the way down.
Oh yeah, it
Okay.
looks super good. It's such a nice design.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Amen.
What are you looking forward to most with Dr. Death?
Just the legacy that I can leave behind, and looking at all the friendships that I've already made, like with all of you, the people that I've inspired to do their own custom character. Now they're working at Haunts, and I mean, there's been a lot of people who don't only just care about Dr. Death, they care about the person underneath the mask. And some of them hit me up frequently, pretty much daily, like, "Hey, how you doing? I hope everything's good." They want to build that connection with you. They don't just care about your character. They want to get to know you on a personal level, and I feel like that's very important. um because a lot of people, like you said, you go to a convention, people want to get a picture with you, last like maybe 3 to 10 seconds, and then after that you guys go your separate ways. But it's truly something when that person takes the time out of their day to sit there, start a conversation with you, and get to know you. So I definitely feel like when I look back on all this and it's time for me to hang up the mask and put the scrubs to rest, I want to look back and be like, man, I've made an impact, and I'm proud of myself, but also more proud of the friends and people that I surrounded myself with that were a part of the journey.
Yep. And that's
Amazing
one of the
answer.
main points for me, man. In fact, all of y'all have VIP passes to my funeral, so
Oh yeah, for sure.
and I guess where would the doctor find himself when the asylum is closed? Like just on a normal night off, not at the asylum. What does the doctor like to do on his free time?
Um, Outside of going on casual little strolls through the park late at night to see which people I can bring back to the asylum to make them my new patients, I would probably say that the doctor doesn't really have much of a life outside of being a doctor. I've been Dr. Death for so long, and I've stayed locked up in that asylum for so long, that I don't know anything else other than operating on the human flesh and slashing my way through life. So that's probably what I do on my off time. And of course, hang out with my good friends like you guys. Deadly
Talk about being committed to
intentions.
your job.
Oh, all the time. I sleep, I bathe, everything in this.
You know, if you love what you do, you're never working a day in your life. It's just always fun.
Take notes from that man, because he just hit it on the nail. That is the perfect way to look at it.
Who are you most excited to meet at the film festival?
That's a good one. Um, I think easily for me, it's got to be the Terrifier cast so far that's been announced. I've heard that maybe we're gonna get more, possibly even Art the Clown coming himself. That would be, and Damien. So I mean, I feel like that would be great. Of course, I always love running into Danielle Harris, because I keep up with her podcasts and everything. I mean, I'm sure you guys seen my wall update. I love the Halloween franchise. It's my favorite franchise when it comes to slashers. It's what got me into the horror community. So um, definitely excited to meet the Terrifier cast, Danielle Harris, and I think they said they still have about 15 more guests that they're going to announce. So hopefully they're saving some more of the big names later on. I'm hoping that Maybe since we got the Ghostface that we might get Nev Campbell. Fingers crossed, but definitely the Terrifier cast for sure.
Yeah, because as soon as they dropped those two names from Terrifier 2, I was just, me and Bobo were texting each other like, dude, they're gonna bring in Art and Damien, man.
They have to, right? They just have to.
Yeah, like you can't have two of them without the other two, man.
They did the same thing last year for Halloween. That's actually what got me into cosplaying. Was I became a shape cosplayer to meet James Jude, and I have him sign my mask.
So my question is going to be, what was the horror film that got you into the horror genre? What was the first horror film you saw, and you're like, wow, I need more of this in my life? What was it that kind of indoctrinated you into this kind of lifestyle?
Definitely Halloween. Just the way that Michael was the shape, the boogeyman, and didn't say a single word and was just walking down the street casually, just going house to house, killing these babysitters and stalking Lori and everything. Like it was just something about it that really was like, I want more of that. I want to see more of it. And the amount of times that I watched that movie over and over again when my mom had got it for me on VHS was just ridiculous. I'm sure I burnt it out by the time I was done with it. But definitely that one. And I also want to give a big shout out to the original, not the remake, Jeepers Creepers. The first Jeepers Creepers movie really like just got me into the, I guess you can say, the creature kind of slasher thing. Because once I watched Jeepers Creepers, then it got me into Alien, Predator. So like I always will hold Jeepers Creepers up there and everything. And I mean, outside of the original, I mean, part two was decent in my opinion, but after that, I just don't acknowledge the other ones in that franchise. So
Very fair.
definitely Halloween and Jeepers Creepers for sure.
Very, very
That's
fair.
a
Great
pretty good
choice,
answer.
too. I love Halloween. I've already said this once, I'll say it again. Halloween series, so good.
We've already talked about, like what your favorite, horror movie is. Now, what would you consider your like least favorite? Maybe not horror movie in general, but like horror movie moment.
Eesh. Outside of that dumpster fire that was Halloween End, uh, I would probably, man, I don't know. Is it fair to say that like there was a movie that bothered me so much to where like by the time I got done watching that film, it just made me feel like I didn't want to be a horror movie fan no more. Would that be good or not, in your opinion? Then I would have to go with the Human Centipede. I've watched all three
A
films.
classic.
I don't know what made me sit through all three of these movies and just look at myself the same. Like, okay, I'm gonna be honest. The doctor from the first one kind of was an inspiration for Doctor Death as well. That's why I feed off the whole
Nice.
having asylum, operating on my patients type thing. So it did do a little something for me, but at the same time, it was such a low point for me where I'm like, I don't know if I want to get involved with the horror community anymore. If it's gonna be like this isn't Halloween, this isn't Jeepers Creepers, this is fucked up, is what this is. Um, so I would definitely have to say that Hostel was another franchise that just made me
Yeah.
like I was like, what is this? I don't want no more of this. Like versus with Halloween, where I'm like, yes, give me more. With Hostel and like the Human Centipede, I'm like, I don't want this no more. I felt like I had to go say a prayer after I was done watching those movies. Needed to baptize in like holy water after what I saw because I just could not believe that there are people out there who hold these movies up to a standard that I will never understand. I just don't. I've met people who have said that Hostel and the Human Centipede, um, and like movies like Midsummer and what's the other one, Hereditary, are like their favorite horror films, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Crucify me if you want, but I just don't get the hype behind those type of movies.
I don't think anyone blames you for disliking Human Centipede.
It's been real, Doc. Where can the people of the world find you?
You can find me at the Dr. Death underscore HTX on Instagram, or you can find me at Dr. Death on Facebook or Danny Solis on Facebook.
Nice, nice. And is there like I guess like a calendar that you can promote as well, where people can come see you in person and take a picture with the deadly doctor from Houston, Texas?
I have a few photo shoots upcoming for my social media. I will be at Comic Palooza. I will be at Days of the Dead, the Houston Horror Film Festival later on in the year. So yeah, come on out, have a good time, meet the best doctor in Houston, and then of course meet these three fine gentlemen who are just as good at this than I am, because they are the true inspiration behind Doctor Death. Without them, I don't know what I would be doing. I look up to you, gentlemen, so thank you for having me, and make sure you follow them and make sure you keep up with the podcasts.
Much love, man. Well, on that note, everyone, it is HTX Leatherface, and you just got done watching the Slash Talk podcast with our amazing guest, Dr. Death underscore HTX, along with my other co-hosts.
713 Ghostface and
Jason takes Texas.
Slash Talk podcast, signing off.